South China Sea, the maritime choke point. As resource conflicts intensify across the globe, no disputed territory has more immediate potential to disrupt the world economy than a stretch of ocean where 5 nations face off against China's expanding maritime claims. The South China Sea serves as the nautical crossroads through which 1/3 of international shipping passes each year, valued at over $3 trillion annually. These vital sea lanes function as the arteries of global commerce, connecting Europe, the Middle East, Africa, and Asia, facilitating the movement of essential resources and finished goods that stock shelves and power industries worldwide. This maritime region has transformed into one of the world's most volatile flashpoints, as overlapping territorial claims create a complex web of disputes that grow more dangerous each year. China, Vietnam, the Philippines, Malaysia, Brunei, and Taiwan all assert sovereignty over portions of these waters, with Beijing's claims being by far the most expansive. The competition centers on control of shipping routes, fishing grounds, and potentially massive underwater energy reserves that could power economies for decades. At the heart of this multi-sided dispute lies China's controversial 9-dash line, a boundary that encompasses roughly 90% of the entire South China Sea. This demarcation, appearing on Chinese maps as 9 dashes forming a loop around most of the waterway, was firmly rejected by an international tribunal. In 2016, the Permanent Court of Arbitration in The Hague ruled that China's expansive claims had no legal basis under international maritime law. Beijing ignored the ruling, demonstrating how traditional legal frameworks struggle to constrain great power ambitions in contested spaces. Instead of retreating, China has doubled down by creating facts on the water. Since 2013, Beijing has undertaken massive dredging operations to transform submerged reefs and rocks into artificial islands throughout the contested waters. These manufactured islands now feature ports, military facilities, and airstrips capable of handling bomber aircraft and fighter jets. The military buildup on these artificial outposts represents a significant change in the regional balance of power. Satellite imagery reveals sophisticated radar installations, anti-aircraft weapons, and missile shelters that extend China's defensive perimeter hundreds of miles beyond its mainland shores. These installations function as unsinkable aircraft carriers, providing Beijing with permanent forward bases from which it can project power across the entire South China Sea and monitor all maritime traffic passing through these critical waterways. This military presence directly threatens the free flow of international shipping. Any disruption to these maritime choke points would force vessels to reroute around Indonesia and the Philippines, adding thousands of miles and substantial costs to global shipping. The resulting delays would cascade through just-in-time supply chains, affecting energy markets, manufacturing output, and consumer prices worldwide. Recent confrontations demonstrate how quickly theoretical disputes can escalate to physical altercations. The standoff at 2nd Thomas Shoal exemplifies this dangerous dynamic. The Philippines intentionally grounded a World War II-era vessel, the BRP Sierra Madre, on this shoal to reinforce its territorial claims. Chinese Coast Guard vessels now regularly use water cannons against Philippine ships attempting to resupply their Marines stationed aboard. In June 2024, these confrontations intensified when Chinese sailors armed with axes and knives seized a Filipino boat, physically assaulted Philippine Marines, and destroyed equipment. In another incident, a Filipino Marine had his thumb severed when a Chinese steel-hulled boat rammed his craft while moored alongside the Sierra Madre. December 2024 saw further escalation when China deployed its 12,000-ton Coast Guard vessel 5901, the largest Coast Guard ship in the world, to join its substantial maritime presence. By deploying such overwhelming assets, Beijing signals both its determination to assert control and its capacity to overwhelm smaller navies of regional competitors. The South China Sea contains rich natural resources that further intensify competition. The waters host productive fishing grounds providing essential protein for millions across Southeast Asia. Beneath the seabed lie potentially vast oil and gas reserves that could transform regional economies. These resources, food security, and energy independence create powerful incentives for nations to press their territorial claims despite the risks. The United States has responded by conducting regular freedom of navigation operations, sending warships through waters claimed by China to demonstrate these areas remain international waterways. While effective in demonstrating resolve, these operations create moments of high tension when Chinese vessels shadow or intercept U.S. Navy ships. American involvement extends beyond naval operations. The U.S. Defense Treaty with the Philippines could draw the United States into direct confrontation should China's actions against Philippine vessels cross certain thresholds. This treaty relationship creates a link between localized maritime incidents and potential great power confrontation. Japan has increased its presence by selling military equipment to the Philippines and Vietnam to improve their maritime security capabilities. The Philippines has responded to mounting pressure by strengthening international partnerships, increasing American base access, and expanding joint military exercises to enhance its maritime capabilities. What makes the South China Sea dispute particularly dangerous is its combination of multiple flashpoints in a single volatile region. Economic interests, nationalist sentiments, historical grievances, and great power competition all converge in these contested waters. Unlike land borders that can be clearly demarcated, maritime boundaries remain inherently fluid and contestable, creating persistent ambiguity. Energy supplies face particular vulnerability. Tankers carrying Middle Eastern oil and Qatari natural gas to East Asian economies regularly transit these waters. Any disruption to these energy flows would immediately impact industries and households across the Asia-Pacific region while sending global energy prices soaring. The economic effects would quickly spread to markets and consumers worldwide, demonstrating how regional maritime security directly affects global economic stability.